Welcome everyone to What's Up on Swunger Games. I'm your host Ella, but I also go by Phantom or the President's wife sometimes. And I'm your host here. I would usually be joined in the studio or station by a few other people, but tonight is the first night of What's Up that I'm actually the first one in here, which is, I guess, a little good for me considering I've done a radio show before, but it's okay. But actually, I'd like to mention that I'm not technically the only one in the station. I also have my son here, who won't actually be talking because he's just a stuffed animal tiger. But, lore stuff for the Swunger Games, it's weird. Anyway, so if you're new here, Swunger Games is an on-campus parody event that goes on, and we're here with our radio show for the first time ever this semester. Or not the first time this semester, but this semester is the first time we've ever had a radio show for us. And we recap our world lore or just like things that go on in the games. We've done recaps of the games before because we just had our 5th biannual game. So they happen from time to time. It's once a semester. It's a lot of fun. Y'all should totally join us. And before we get into the actual topic of today, just a reminder that the views and opinions expressed in the podcast are those of the podcast hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Taylor University or its arts, film, and media department. Cool. So now that we got that done, today is an interesting topic, and I've never actually gotten to, fully discuss it with people before. But we have different weapons in Swunger Games. I mean, what would the games be without our weapons, right? They're very important to us, and oftentimes the weapon you choose can lead either to your own victory or defeat. So they get kind of important unless, I don't know, you're just smart enough to manipulate everyone, casually manipulate your friends, right? We totally endorse that or don't endorse that, whatever you want us to do. It's all consensual, we promise. We definitely agree to mentally traumatize each other, I think would probably be a good way of describing it. But we're fun. We're totally fun, I promise. We totally don't leave mental trauma behind after the games. We just all love each other. Anyway, so one of the popular weapons conversations is the difference between guns and swords, because that is our most common weaponry. And at the end of the day, swords are usually the better answer, just because of what they do. But it depends. I mean, guns have their advantages too, and they can be useful when you're going for a more ranged approach, and when there's 7 of you all charging into horn, you've just come out and are ready for a fight. It's kind of terrifying. There was definitely a massacre last games that was more than traumatizing, where 7 people from FOSO showed up for to fight against my own alliance and was let's take them out all with guns and shields, and it was kind of awful. It was good for them, I was terrified. But anyway, so the guns can be good. But at the end of the day, most of the time when you have a person with a sword charging towards you and all you have is a Nerf weapon, because keep in mind, these are fake weapons, don't think I'm talking about real weapons. But when you have a foam sword coming at you and all you have is a Nerf gun, it's a little terrifying to be on, the receiving side of that. I guess it's a lot more confident when you have a weapon that can go up against the sword. But yeah. So anyway, we have our rules for weapons are a little iffy, I guess. So I thought I'd start with first what weapons we're not allowed to use, because that list is, in most terms, shorter than the list of what we can use. And we've had to theoretically up the number of rules on that this year, just in our own minds. It's not officially at the website or anything, which we do have a website. If you ever want to learn more about us, go to Swunger Games dot something. I don't know, I don't remember. It's fun. It's also just be careful, because Swunger Games will definitely not come out first when you search us. Um, so yeah, I don't know. If you ever want to, like, see our website, get in contact with one of us, and then, I don't know, ask us to send you the link, maybe. It's fun. We also have a Discord. But anyway, so I don't know where I was going with this. Oh yeah, so the weapons we aren't allowed to use, the first kind was mainly just, like, anything that could, I don't know, cause bodily damage. Like, we weren't allowing bats and stuff, the hope was that you weren't fighting with actual weapons, right? Like, non-real weapons aren't allowed. I mean, real weapons aren't allowed. Thank you. So that was the first rule, right? And then, who would have thought that our creator, wonderful Lydia and Kronos, was going to be asked if water-based weapons could work? From two guys who definitely knew what they were asking when they asked it, I guess. And gave us a very good reason to say no, water-based weaponry is not allowed. So if you were thinking about using a water gun, unfortunately, that's a no-no. I know there are some campus events who do that, and I think that would be kind of scary if, like, any second of the day you could just be hit by a water gun. There's some powerful water guns out there, which I guess I'm saying that as someone who gets, like, beat with a foam sword in the games, but oh well. Just a reminder, we're not affiliated with Taylor University's Arts, Film, and Media Department. But so water-based weaponry isn't allowed, and then in, I guess, the recent games, we were joking and saying that, like, chemical warfare is not allowed, biological warfare is not allowed. We tend to work under most rules that are just a given in warfare, so, like, don't poison each other for real. Like, don't do any actual harm. So it works. We joke about it. It's fun. Yeah, we do things. But anyway, so that's mainly what isn't allowed, which leaves a lot of room for other things. I'm trying to think if there's anything I've left out, but it's iffy. We usually evaluate it based on what goes. Oh, and I guess the official statement is that a weapon is allowed once it has been approved by a game maker. And the way it's approved is that you have to hit the game maker with it. So I don't think our webmaster likes getting hit, but our head game maker, beloved Heidi, Heidi welcomes getting hit by it, I guess. I guess that's, Heidi's policy is hit me with it. I've seen plenty of guns fired just to test if they work, and Ben's guns are terrifying. So that's the way it works. Hit a game maker with it. I've also volunteered to be hit with it, both as a tribute and as a game maker, because I have filled both those roles, so I had plenty of bruises from being hit by things that are not allowed in the games anymore for very specific reasons. Yeah, so we that's the rule we have. And then there's an interesting kind of space we live in, because some of us consider Swunger Games almost like a LARP. It is, in all definition, pretty much a LARP, just depending on if you like LARPs or not. But so we allow weapons that aren't allowed in LARPing because there are LARP grade weapons. It's, like, very specific, and LARPs will be very strict about it, because the whole point of a LARP is that you don't want to hurt other people. And, like, granted, Swunger Games is too. We just have more consent to the accidents. Not that there have really been any. There have, but it's fine. But we're tougher, I guess, and we're not in, like, cosplays and stuff that can get totally destroyed in the worst case scenario that's something that a weapon could do to you. So, slightly tougher than LARP grade weapon is allowed. And so, speaking of that, I guess, it's a pretty good time to reference back some of the weapons we've had before. And I'll start with like the boring ones. We've had swords. Um, Obviously, we've had a lot of like they're all foam swords most of the time. We've had like from Dollar General flimsy like kids swords that cost like $2 all the way to full on foam anime swords. So it's a lot of range, I guess, and it just depends on the person and what they're looking for and how aggressive they're going to be in the games. I say aggressive or more like proactive, maybe, to offensive on the offense. I don't know. Is offensive the same thing as on the offense? But if they're going to be like the more offense person in the fight, then yeah, they're probably going to get a better weapon. Unless you're ready to just go ham on someone with the fake weapon, with the like flimsy sword you have. Um, I don't know. It's interesting. So there's a lot of uh swords and such. But then next most common on the list, and they have, like I said before, I guess just mentioned it. There's guns. Um, they're useful. Most Nerf guns end up being somewhat of a hindrance. There's some really nice Nerf guns you can go get. Unfortunately, I feel like most of us don't have the money for that currently at the moment. Like, we have the money to buy a foam sword because it's a foam sword, right? But I don't necessarily. The weapon, or the gun I used one year was one I, like, found in my basement from when I was, like, 10 or something. And it wasn't, like, a terrible Nerf gun. It was, like, nicer than, like, the basic ones, but it was also really, like, heavy and would always, like, it would, I don't know, jangle? Is that a word? It would, like, swish around when I was walking. It was, like, one of the most annoying things ever. It would make so much sound, so I'm, like, running away from people across campus, and there's this gun that's, like, waving around and, like, causing a bruise to form on my leg. So those tend to be more of a hindrance than anything, because they get, like, jammed and stuff, and they're so unreliable. Mine barely had, like, any range to it, so, like, I could shoot, like, one bullet, and then at that point, the person would start charging at me with a gun, and I'd be like, nope, I gotta fight with my sword, and I kind of just drop my gun at some point. Fake Nerf gun. So, I don't know. They're good. We've only had one instance of a player, or tribute, I guess, who made it far in the games with only guns, and that's our Sunzu, or Gunzu now, I think. But that's because his Nerf gun really was just an armory. He had multiple, and they were the nice ones, so, like, it made sense for him, and I wish he was here. We'll probably, hopefully, have him next week for the fourth games when we recap those. But yeah, his Nerf guns were certainly terrifying. They had, like, actual, I don't know, motors in them or something, or just, like, a sound box, maybe, where you would hear them rev up, like, almost like a motorcycle or, like, a car engine. It was terrifying, and so, like, you'd hear that thing, and if you, like, you didn't see him and you, like, turned around to see him with it, it was kind of terrifying. And these were big guns, right? So, I mean, those are effective to a certain extent, unless they suddenly break and you go into the finale without your super powerful gun that you were hoping to use. Rip Sunzu. You lost the finale and I won. Sorry. I'm so sorry your machine gun didn't work. I'm so glad it didn't. Anyway, so guns are good. And then other weapons we've had, a common ones are shields. Those aren't necessarily weapons. Like, you can't, I guess as far as we've used shields, you can't go up and hit someone with a shield. And by shields, we usually mean they're like cardboard, and they're more for defense than anything. Like, having a shield is nice when either you have Nerf gun bullets coming at you, or you have, like, the skills to wield it with a sword, and then you can block someone's sword. I've seen about, like, two, three guys from FOSO, also Sammy, I guess. Um, I guess from the more so the FOSO Alliance in the fourth games, who were able to handle that well. Oh, I lie. 3 to 4. Our beloved Canary was known for that in the beginning. I don't know if he really used a shield this much this game. Speaking of him, he is our current victor, so, if you ever need advice about shield and sword, go to him. He's the guy. And then we have some just members from the FOSO Alliance that did pretty well with them. They're good. I've thought about it. I've thought about, we had one year where umbrellas was a popular shield device or material, I guess. But you really don't want to bring a nice umbrella that you don't want to get completely destroyed, because a foam sword to umbrella usually ends in a not happy umbrella. Yeah. So that's shields for you. And then we've had some more interesting options. You've obviously had my spear. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. I love it. It's reliable. There's nothing quite like a spear in the games. Unless you just outthink it, I guess. Yeah. It's pretty cool. And then we've had, I guess, some callbacks to other people. Our Strike, who is also Haley, she had wooden poles in the fourth games. I think it was the fourth games, yeah. That we were like, I don't think you can use wooden poles. And we probably talked about this last week, but, we were like, you can't use wooden poles because you're going to be hitting people with them. And, like, a wooden pole to the ribs is kind of painful. So we said no, but then we were like, as long as you, wrap it with something to where it doesn't hurt, then it works. So Haley went and got pool noodles, and just, like, I wrapped the wooden poles with a pool noodle, and then was, like, swinging around these giant pool noodle wooden swords. It was kind of scary. So I was swinging those around, and she dual wielded, so it was two of them, and that was fun. It was scary, and it was pretty effective. I mean, against a foam sword, it definitely held up. And actually, compared to a foam sword, it probably did less damage because the pool noodle kind of just bounced right off you. Yeah. So it's interesting. I'm not sure I advise that as like a go-to weapon. Probably not. But it did work for the fourth games, technically. And so speaking of, wooden poles or just poles in general, the next step up from that, which was for like the second and third games, was a metal pole. And the metal pole was very suspiciously wrapped because the reality of it is that most of it was not wrapped. Like, we definitely are not allowing metal poles now, especially after, like, the amount of bruises most of us got in, like, non-actual Swunger Games fights. Like, we do fights outside of the actual games. They take place during the games, just like, we know that we do this only for our amusement and not for the game itself. And I think after getting enough bruises and that, especially myself, like, a metal pole to the leg hurts. We were like, I don't think the metal pole should be allowed anymore. Plus, the guy who was using it, I think we're calling him Blacksmith now, Keldon, was just too scary with it. Like, him with a foam sword is scary because he gets this kind of bloodlusty, trigger-happy look in his eyes and is like, ha, I'm gonna, like, tear you apart. So, in, like, a fun way, totally fun way, so he does that, and the metal pole was suspicious. But the way it ended up being allowed was because I believe it was wrapped in bubble wrap the first time it was brought into the games. And the first, let's be honest, the first Swunger Games was chaos and had multiple weapons that definitely are not allowed now. For example, a stick slash two broken halves of a stick, which only made the stick more pointy. So that's not great. Plastic cutlery, knives, forks, fork to the stomach would not be great. I trying to think what else. Oh, like plastic weapons, because there are some, like if you go to like, I don't know what it's called, Halloween something, Halloween stores, they'll have like, like plastic swords and stuff. In the first games, a tribute had a plastic scythe, which was like scary to watch on video. I didn't actually take part in the first games, so I don't know how it felt to get hit by it, but I know that there are like horror stories. So plastic weapons feels like a no-no. I think to a certain extent, because it is still plastic and it's still hard. So that happens. Or it doesn't happen anymore. But so Keldon's pole it was wrapped in like bubble wrap at first, and then later on it was just the ends of the pole were in like these giant duct tape slash bubble wrap slash more duct tape bulbs that were just on the end, like a ball of duct tape on the end. Still don't know how that was allowed. But in the third games, when a rebellion was going on and such, and we had like, he was a sponsor, he had like a little boss battle sort of challenge, and you could go fight him. And so his wife now, who was also a tribute, and a few others of us went to fight him, and like the more experienced of us were like, yes, we want to fight your metal pole for fun, because he had a sword, like a foam sword, that was way less painful for like the not insane people who wanted to fight a metal pole. But a few of us still chose to fight it, and it was terrifying. I mean, he swung that thing like it was a baseball bat, and like, it hurt. It hurt so much. I had like a purple line across my leg from where I got hit. It was so much fun though. Like, fighting him was so much fun, especially just because of like the adrenaline that was pumping through me and the fear of fighting a weapon like that. But obviously, like, that's not the norm that we encourage, right? We want to be careful. We want everyone to have fun in the games, and such. Yeah. So engaging in the Discord, y'all are, unfortunately, most people in the games right now are busy with life, which is sad. So they aren't here to discuss fun weapons with me. But yeah, so next of the weapons we've had, I guess, or suggested having, because there's a very difference between the weapons we've had and the weapons we've talked about. And there was one year, it might have been during the third games, I think it was during the third games, where we joked about Nerf grenades, which is actually a thing that Nerf makes. And they're literal like grenades that you throw. And they have, Nerf, I don't know, what are they called? They have Nerf weaponry that like shoots out. I'm trying to think of what they're called. Shrapnel or whatever that explodes from the grenades. And so we had talked about that completely as a joke. But we decided that grenades for Nerf are not a great idea and would not be a fun thing to like be throwing around campus or even like in the woods behind campus. So that's unfortunately not what we do. Anyway, welcome to the station, Haley. I don't.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Good. So today we're talking about weapons. Do you have any input on that?
Great. Swords are the greatest. Well, I will say when I'm fighting, the people with spears always seem to have the upper hand, despite me using dual wield swords in battle. I mean, swords are my go-to for fighting, but if you're in a fighting competition, I think the spear might actually give you an upper hand.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The spear is one of the more, I guess, advantageous, like you said, and just terrifying to go up against, just because its range is great compared to a
Yeah.
sword. But yeah,
Yeah.
so
Nerf guns are also awesome because you get the range on them.
yeah, especially if you can hide behind a shield, right?
Yeah, the one weakness to using two swords is you don't have an extra hand to hold a shield, so you're completely open to any Nerf guns.
Yeah, although I remember you popping out around the corner in Horn and just like whacking Caleb with those two swords. No need for a shield.
Well, he didn't have his weapon on him at the time. He used a spear in the fourth games, but he didn't have it on him when he was doing his radio show. We ambushed him.
Yeah, that was crazy of us.
That was fun.
Yeah, ambushes people, they are so much fun, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we've been recapping, or I've been recapping, I guess, weapons that have been used in the games and just like their different aspects. Do you have like I don't know, favorite weapon you liked going against?
Let's see. Well, I've only been a tribute in the fourth game, so I haven't seen what people have been using in games prior to that. But
it's been a lot of the same. Swords are a very popular weapon.
Yeah, because swords. But what you got to consider is that yes, this is the Swunger Games, and this is a competition. But it is also a school, and we have class. And carrying weapons to class every day can be kind of annoying. Swords you can kind of tuck in your jeans or carry them on your backpack. They're very easy to transport, I guess. Meanwhile, you're around trying to ride a bike with a spear might not work out as well.
Yeah, riding a bike with a spear brings back so many awful memories. For those of you who have not heard the escapade I went through when my spear got caught in my wheel and of my bike, and I went down and died because of my own spear. So
the video footage of that was hilarious.
Was there video footage of that?
Yeah.
Also,
if there are people listening who don't know who I am, hi, I'm Haley Straub. I make the daily recap videos for the Swunger Games. I fought in the fourth Swunger Games last semester, but I'm not on campus right now, so I couldn't participate in the fifth game. But I still edit the videos, and I have been keeping up with what's happening. I've been keeping up with what's up in the Swunger Games by seeing what videos they send in. So, yeah, that's me. Okay, what were you saying, Ella?
I don't think I was saying anything, but while we have a slight minute break, I'd like to welcome back into the station my beloved co-host. I'm so glad you're here.
Hi, everybody. I am back. Sorry I was late. Had something else to do.
Yeah, so for recap for my host, we've been talking about weapons. If you're just joining in at the 30-minute mark and haven't been here before, we are talking about weapons in the Swunger Games for our on-campus parody. it's Hunger Games event, and we use a lot of weapons. Foam are the main ones. We've had some occasional things. We just talked about references to past weapons in the games. So we can, well, I have you here, Mimi, She Who Calls Names, and also Wildcard. So many names.
So many nicknames, but you know what? They're all fun and they're all dear to my heart.
We love getting nicknames. Do you have any weapons you specifically, remember fighting against that you either liked or disliked?
So I mostly fought against melee, specifically swords. One of our tributes, Alicia, she used a spear last games, and I fought against you with your spear. And when you have a sword that is not, it's not a super long sword. I think it was only 41 inches in total. So not terribly long. That is not a great combo because it's about just the width of my arm. Plus a little bit more, give or take. So that was probably the most terrifying thing ever. For some reason, fought against guns. Not the worst. The range is really nice. So when you have a sword and a gun, I think that's the best combo. In my opinion, a gun and a sword, best combo. A spear, it's really nice to have, but it's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's terrifying to fight against a spear, especially someone who's really good with a spear.
Yes, exactly. I have a quick question for you, Mimi. You say the sword with the gun combo is the best. Which one do you put in your dominant hand?
So I put my sword in my dominant hand most of the time. My go-to was always pull out the gun, shoot, then pull out the sword, simply because then you can get a sneak attack. And while sneak attack doesn't do extra damage, it still does some damage on your opponent. And so then I would switch. However, I'm about the same on my left and my right. So my dominant and my non-dominant hand, I am about equal with a sword. I am better gun-wise with my dominant hand, but I'm still pretty good with my non-dominant, as in I hit my target about 70% of the time instead of 99% of the time. Not flexing at all. Not flexing at all. I just grew up using Nerf guns.
Nice. Huh. See, I did not grow up using Nerf guns. I don't know if we might have had one Nerf gun at my house growing up, and it was the kind that only shot one bullet at a time, so I don't have any Nerf guns now. Even with normal guns, I have really bad aim with projectile weapons, which is why I prefer to go for the melee weapons.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I also find it interesting that you think it's easier to use a gun in your dominant hand than non-dominant hand. Because at least when I'm fighting, I go gun in non-dominant and then sword in dominant because it's a lot harder for me to swing a sword than it is to pull the trigger of a gun.
Yeah. I say it's easier with my dominant simply because my dominant eye matches up with my dominant hand. And so then I can just look down my arm instead of looking across my body. That's the only reason why it's slightly easier. But overall, sword in dominant hand beats sword in non-dominant hand.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like my problem there is when you're blind, you're not really aiming at much other than just the giant blob, so it doesn't really matter.
True.
How precise your aim is.
It's different glasses versus non-glasses versus seen and not seen. Those are very key indicators when aiming at blobs versus less blurry blobs.
Yeah, not wearing glasses or glasses not helping certainly affects that.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So I don't know. I have a personal love for my spear, right? I've used it ever since the third games. I genuinely think I could have won the third games if I wanted to with it just because it was so new and terrifying to everyone. And I don't remember, were you at the finale?
Yes, I've been at every single finale.
that makes sense.
Since the game's conception.
Yeah, for the most part, I think the only reason, and this isn't like me gloating or anything, I lost the third games respectively, but I think I could have won had I not chosen to basically surrender myself and not fight as hard as I could have with that spear and how terrifying it is, simply because I was really hoping the rebellion would, like, remember their loyalties. You know?
Yeah.
Those traitors, how could they?
And you gotta be way more careful with a spear than a sword.
Yeah.
That's part of it. Is why I enjoy having a small light sword. Is you don't have to have as much control as you do with something bigger and heavier, like a spear.
Yeah. The spear has its disadvantages, especially in that, like, heaviness and having to be careful, because you can't do what a sword can in the regard that it's not fast and it's not, like, I guess necessarily powerful when you strike, unless you're being a bit more, like, forceful. I remember fighting Kay just for fun, and she had this, like, really thick sword that definitely left marks on my arm, because she would have to swing it so quickly and with, like, so much emphasis and power, because it was the only way to, like, catch the spear off guard, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm so focused on, like, okay, I can't hit him. And a little secret for you guys, spears, you're not allowed to stab them because, you know, we're worried about it. You can in real life, just not in the Swunger Games. So that's one of the disadvantages I had placed against me when I first had the spear, was I can't stab people with it. Like, it's only slashing.
Yeah, but you can with a sword.
But you can't
because
with a
it's
sword.
a little more bendy.
Yeah. So, like, keeping all that in mind when you have a spear is almost just a disadvantage. I mean, almost as much as, like, having a shorter weapon, but it is still.
It's still a great advantage.
Still a great advantage.
It's still a great advantage. You can knock people off their feet.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not very fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's such a beautiful weapon to me, because I spent so long looking for the perfect weapon. I'm pretty good with the spear. It's one of my main weapons, just non-Swunger Games also, but I usually like dual
Wielding?
Yeah, that word.
2 weapons rather than 1 weapon.
2 weapon rather than 1. Sword in each hand. I love it.
Superior.
Right? I feel like all of us here are pretty fond of dual wielding.
Yeah.
Yes. Is it possible to dual wield with the spear, though? Because you kind of need 2 hands to maneuver it.
Technically, with my spear, it is.
It's because your spear can turn into 2 weapons.
It detaches. So the way that I ordered the spear, right, like, with very specific specifications in mind, like, I was searching for weeks and weeks on Amazon. I spent, like, the entire time from the second games to the third games looking for a better weapon than my terrible pink sword.
That thing bends so easily.
It doesn't help also that it has a natural bend.
Yeah.
You know, like, because it's kind
'Cause
of,
it
it's almost
curves up.
rapier.
Yeah. Very, or like almost katana-esque. It has
it
a
is like a
natural
katana.
curve up to it, but then also if you strike anything, the blade will, like, hit a 90-degree angle, and so then you gotta stop the fight and bend it back, but it's never truly straight because it's been bent so many times.
I think the first time it bent was probably against Matthew. And Matthew was such a respectful person as a fighter that, like, he stopped fighting and was like, I'm so sorry, is your weapon okay? I was like, and I'm like, really scared, trying to, like, bend it back into place, and it bent back into place, and I was like, we're good, and we started, like, fighting again.
Matthew was so nice and chivalrous. Last time I broke a tribute weapon in battle, I just kept going.
You also stole a weapon, though, in battle.
Hey, it broke in half, okay? I was fighting Tiernan, who uses a spear type of thing, and I literally asked him while we were fighting, what even is that? And he's like, it's a spear that can break apart into 2 swords. And I kind of teased him, like, you should break it into 2 swords then. He did not. And I ended up hitting the cheap plastic thing in just the right spot, and it snapped in half. And so, of course, I picked up the extra half, and then he ran away before he could, like, reclaim it or something. And so he ran away, he fled, so I couldn't give it back to him because he was already halfway across the campus.
and then you
I
brought
gave
it to
back
his
to him that
death.
night. Well, I gave it back to him that night.
That's good.
It was like,
We love weapons.
because in the 4th games when I was a mutt, I used your pink sword, and every single time,
It's such a problem.
because I wasn't pulling my punches. I probably should have, but it was way too fun hitting people with said sword. And those boys stood no chance against the massive people, and so we're just like, and you're all dead now.
Murder.
And that thing bent so many times. I think I accidentally bent it even more doing that ambush. That wasn't an ambush that everyone knew about, where the guys walked to their death.
You can't. You cannot pity them when like they knew what would happen.
You can't. This isn't me pitying them. This is me feeling sorry for the weapon and not the guys.
Yeah, the weapon.
They knew. They put their location in the chat. They knew what was going to happen. They walked happily to their doom.
The craziest thing about that, too, is that they did so after already witnessing someone make that exact mistake and die for it.
They
Rep
did it
Tiernan.
again. R.I.P.
We liked you. You're a great fighter.
Yeah.
Bring
it back.
Right? He was one of the ones that truly, I think, knew how to use sword and shield together.
Yeah. So many people
honestly,
get both.
he was really good at it.
Yeah. Like, I feel like for most people, the shield ends up almost being a hindrance because you don't know how to maneuver both.
But he knew.
But he was blocking, like, multiple hits with that thing.
Yeah.
He was doing
Not only was he blocking multiple hits with it, he had his spear in one hand and his cardboard shield in the other, and he was holding his water bottle and had his backpack on. He had so much extra baggage, and he held his end so well.
He was girl mathing it all the way.
He died
till he
so
died.
honorably. Went down in a blaze of glory.
Woo!
And he took you out too, Haley. So that's
He did take me out.
Yeah.
another
Because
point.
I didn't understand how the game's mechanics worked, and I had like gotten into some skirmish last game, not last game, the 4th game, the games before, and I had been bleeding, had the bleeding effect, and I didn't know, and so I sat like that for like several days, slowly losing points and not using the med pack that I had because I'd forgotten to check my status.
Oh, the
So,
bleeding
yeah.
mechanic is a killer, man.
Girl, that almost took me out
it
too.
killed me.
It's okay. It's taken so many people out who are like, yeah, let's do this. Wait, I've been what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you get a notification off campus that you've bled out completely. I don't remember who that was. It might have been like...
I don't remember,
think it
but
was
somebody was
Raina or
off campus.
something.
They bled out. Lydia channel hit Lid K once because she had been bleeding out and didn't realize it. You almost bled out and didn't realize it. I had like 5 different people all texting me at the same time as I was in class that I was bleeding out. And I'm like, y'all, I don't have a med pack. What do you want me to do? I didn't know. I realized I'd been bleeding. I just didn't realize how long it had been. I'm trying.
I do feel bad about that because, in my defense, when I text you, I had no idea it was because you had been bleeding. I thought you got in a fight because all I know is that Josiah had texted the Game Maker chat, and I couldn't tell you this at the time because,
Yeah, obviously.
Game Maker quietness. He was like, yeah, well, Mimi's at 1 point, so she's probably going to die soon. I was like, what? Oh my gosh. I should probably, I don't know, warn her in case she doesn't know. But apparently you had multiple people telling you that.
Multiple people for 3 hours as I was in class and in my voice lesson and not allowed to / supposed to be on my phone. And so poor Dr. Songer, I love her to death. She just had me be at the beginning. I'm like, so many people are texting me and I don't know what to do. And so I'm just going to leave it. And I've told them that I'm busy and I cannot deal with this right now and academics. So she just had very stressed out me for so many reasons, that lesson. This woman is amazing. We stan her. She is gorgeous, amazing, so talented.
Okay, so we've spent a while talking about different weapons that we use in the games, but we have yet to mention arguably the most important weapon of all, and that is the ability to talk your way out of difficult situations.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Stamina.
Or
and manipulation.
yeah, and like
Definitely.
pulling a K and just getting everyone to agree to never submit hit points on you.
I almost did that. Low key, I kind of did that.
It's such an effective weapon, and honestly, that's how you win the games. Yeah. Like, that's why I got so paranoid of Kay in the fourth games, because had she wanted to, she totally could have won that game. Like,
Yes.
and granted, if it did come down to a physical fight, yes, I could beat her, but I genuinely think she can manipulate everyone into turning against me and killing me in the finale again. Repeated the third games, and then, except it was, I don't know, autumn, technically not. The rebellion just collapsed on itself. But the people who can manipulate, obviously, can just turn everyone against you and then win that way.
Yeah.
Or it's useful to convince people to, like, not get in a fight with you if you don't have an advantage. Like, there was one time in the fourth games, I want to say I went to the DC for breakfast, and I thought, I'll just bring one sword, because I'm not expecting to run into anybody. I got ambushed by 3 guys from Foso on the way back.
Yikes.
And at this point, I was already dead in the game, so it didn't end up doing anything anyway, but I was obviously getting attacked by all their swords and their Nerf guns and everything, because I only had one sword and no shield or anything. And so I eventually managed to talk my way out of, like, a huge battle, because I was like, hey, we all just ate breakfast. Our stomachs are full, and it hurts to fight on a full stomach. Therefore, we should postpone this. And they actually agreed. And I walked back to English safe.
Don't fight on a full stomach or 30 minutes after you've eaten.
Fosa boys are so interesting.
I mean, it worked in the moment.
Games.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's or like talking your way out of being just like absolutely, oh my word, what's the word? When you Okay, you keep talking. I'm going to finish my sentence in my brain, and then I'll let you know what it is.
Okay. I don't know where you're going with this.
It's I don't know. The manipulation thing though is handy just for so many reasons, especially when one of them is like
stakeout.
Oh.
Being able to talk your way out of a stakeout.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is. I was like, what is the word? What is the word? It starts with an S. Stalker? No.
Hey, what is a stakeout if not stalkering?
The act of being stalkers is a stakeout.
It's a stakeout.
Yeah. Being able to talk your way out of that.
Yeah. Especially when you're in a bathroom compared to in the relief room. Because they're two very different stakeouts.
I was stuck in all of Metcalf for a minute because Autumn was just following me around. And I'm just like, I have to go to class. My class is in Randall. My class starts in 15 minutes. If I don't start walking, I'm going to be late. And she's like, I'm just going to hit you once. And I'm like, girl. This was after I ambushed Kelton that morning and, like, took off so many points.
I think it's so funny that the finale for the last games totally was about to become a stakeout until I went over to Matt, because you were like clinging on to the door of Metcalf, and I went to Matthew and I was like, why are you standing here? And I was like, you know that Rupp isn't safe, right?
I don't know why everyone thought Rupp was safe.
I don't know.
Rupp's not safe.
You ran in.
I knew Rupp wasn't safe. I just knew the doors / where I could stand to be safe and still see what was happening. But I was just chatting with Autumn through a door because the door wouldn't open.
Yeah.
But I was also right next to the theater. So I just ran into the theater as soon as everyone showed up. And I was like, nope.
Yeah. It's just so funny when people remember what's safe and not, because it totally would have been a stakeout, and I was like, stop it. Go fight.
Go do something.
She's
even
cornered.
Even though it didn't actually matter, because I think I was dead at that point.
I think so.
So everyone was just standing around waiting for something to happen.
I was like, I have been counting points. That's why you guys count points.
All right.
Yeah. So with our last 10 minutes, do you guys want to discuss weapons you'd like to see in the future of the games?
I want to see somebody use a bow and arrow. It has not been used yet, and I forgot to grab mine.
Yeah, I wish you had used yours, because don't you have the bow here?
I have a bow here. I do not have the arrows because the arrows for that bow are not safe to shoot at humans. But I do have arrows that are safe to shoot at humans that have a matching bow. But in reality, I can just kind of do whatever I want with those arrows. That is just a wooden dowel
You
rod.
just throw the arrows.
I've done that before. It's just a wooden dowel rod with like a mass of like foam on the end.
Oh my god.
That's it.
Sounds
That's
awful.
what those arrows are. That's all they are.
That's
The
not
human
safe.
safe ones.
I feel like that's not very safe.
It's tiny.
Oh, I
Like,
guess
if you
if
hit
it's
somebody
tiny.
with the stick itself, it's not. Things
How
like
big is it?
like half a dime.
Oh,
That's how
I guess that makes sense.
large around this is. It's not very big. So
I've
it's
always
very
kind of
human
been
safe.
hoping- Oh, sorry. I've always kind of been hoping that we get some sort of either a freshman or someone who's just an absolute nerd who rolls up to the cornucopia with nunchucks.
Ooh.
You know, I
'Cause I
thought
know-
about it.
I know nothing about nunchucks. If me as a sword wielder suddenly came into a combat with a nunchuck user, I would be absolutely clueless how to defend, how to attack, how to
A lasso.
not get whacked. I have no idea.
Why has no one showed up with a lasso?
Right?
Or some sort of like
Like a whip?
or whip or something.
A whip,
You just have to
Or
test
like
it
a
on the
cat.
game makers. If the game makers say it's fine, it's fine.
right?
Circus equipment in general hasn't been used at all or tested on the game makers. Like, y'all.
Yeah, there also exists a weapon in real life that's like some sort of anchor or an axe on a chain. I think the
Yeah.
version of that would be like a tether ball, which would probably be disadvantageous inside. But if there was an outdoor fight, I bet they would win a lot.
Why has nobody used nets or something to trip people?
I feel like we
Because
probably
that-
don't want tripping people.
Like, we don't want that, but why has nobody tried yet?
It's true.
That's my
It's
question.
not- can you consider a net as a weapon? Like, is it every time you catch someone, they lose 1 point?
Huh?
people.
Pokemon style.
Hello. That's 1 point of your health.
Catch them Pokemon style.
Show up with a butterfly net and just like catch their head in the net, and it counts as 1 point.
You've
Just-
been netted.
Or like a pillow or something.
You mean a pillow?
Yes, I am aware of how I say the word. Let me be very Midwest, specifically Michigan and the UP. I figured out the way I say pillow because so much of my vernacular has been influenced by people with accents from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Wow. Random. Nice.
Well, y'all mention every time that I say pillow or milk.
Because it
and I
sounds
use
awful.
No, it's fine.
Anyway.
Another weapon we also haven't seen yet is like a throwing axe. And I don't know how to make that Swunger Games legal, but I would love to throw axes at people's heads.
I mean, you could just buy a foam axe and throw it at people, in all honesty.
Has anyone tried foam throwing knives?
Well, Star did have a foam knife, but she was
Cornhole.
stabbing people with it. Like a
Throwing
small...
cornhole pillows at people.
People need to throw more things.
I feel, there should be more throwing things.
There
The
should
only
be more
problem is
throwing.
once you throw it, then you have no weapon.
You have multiple weapons on you.
I guess that makes
You
sense.
don't just have the
Carry
one.
a bunch. Hear me out. Like a meteor hammer would be fun,
Ooh.
You know.
You're so right. That would be fun.
right? And I like the idea of pool noodles.
Mm-hmm. I do think it would be very interesting for one day or a couple hours alone to allow water guns specifically, not water-based weaponry in general, but water guns specifically,
Oh boy.
because who wouldn't want to see that? Or like water balloons.
Yeah, I
like-
think
Yeah.
if we all agreed and you weren't like the main reason or at least some of the main reason besides the original reason that water-based weaponry isn't allowed, for those of you who have hinted or heard the explanation why we don't allow it.
If you don't know and you want to know, just ask one of us.
Yeah,
we'll tell you.
Well, it's a thing. But one of the reasons we had is, like, because it's all day, every day, right?
Yeah.
Is the game. So imagine you're carrying around your computer and a water
This is why it'd be a specific time.
Yeah.
Cornucopia with water guns. Or the finale with water guns / balloons.
Cornucopia takes place on, like, the dock by the lake, and people end up swimming.
That would be awful.
That's
I think
also
I'd be so
not
terrified.
allowed. That's also not allowed on Taylor campus, so this will not happen.
Right.
I don't know. I can't imagine falling into the lake. I just remember Autumn and Kelton having to fish Kay out of the lake when she, like, went in.
We all remember the second Hunger Games books where they were swimming. Right, that was the second one?
Yeah, that was the 75th ones.
And that did not end well for most people.
Yeah.
If we get to a 75th Swunger game, then we'll do it in the lake.
Sure. If we get to 75 games, then we'll put it in the lake.
How many years from now is that? So 70 divided by
75 divided
35.
by
2? 30
32.
minus 5.
32.
So in 32
Wait, so
years,
70 divided by 2, right? Is
35.
that so? Is that 35 years?
yes.
From now.
From 35 years from
So-
now.
When we're all like 50, 60, we can return and
It's our 50th class
When we're all in our
anniversary
50s,
homecoming.
Ella, you realize that in 30 years, we're all going to be in our early 50s, not 60s?
yeah. That's why I said 50s.
I
don't
all right.
know.
You have written down in weapons you'd like to see rubber chicken?
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
I had talked to Shushu, who was maybe considering being a tribute, and she had said that I don't know, I think she mentioned the rubber chicken, and I was like, yes, please do. So now, ever since then, I want to see someone bring a rubber chicken to the game, because I would totally allow a rubber chicken, simply for the amusement of I don't think it would hurt, and hitting someone with a rubber chicken. Squeak.
No, right? I could throw rubber chickens like throwing axes. That'd be really funny.
Like, could you imagine being hit with a rubber chicken and it's just like squeaking the entire time? And you're like, ow, stop pelting me with a rubber chicken.
I'm going to tie the rubber chicken to the end of a sword and sound damage.
You 2 points of damage instead of 1 from each hit. Or just to the end of a rope. The lasso idea, but with the rubber chicken.
That would be wild. That would be so crazy.
I love it.
I'd watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would too.
Yeah. We need
Maybe-
people to bring more weird weapons into these games.
Maybe next semester, because I will be in the games next semester,
Yeah.
maybe I'll just buy a rubber chicken and have it as, like, my off weapon for my spear.
Do it.
Be like, spear, and then rubber chicken on a rope. Be like, swing. Maybe bring my nunchucks also once I wrap them in, like, foam.
Put a pool noodle on them. Call it a good day.
I would love to have rubber nunchucks because, fun fact, I actually am trained in nunchucks.
Yeah, you will.
And I'm not, like, great in them, but I'm also not, like, awful.
I was trained at one point.
No
It was
way.
so many years ago that I don't remember them anymore. But I was decent. I wasn't great, though.
Yeah.
Put the pool noodles on the nunchucks.
Pool noodle?
Pool noodles on the nunchucks.
That would have to be thin pool noodles. Because it would be really hard trying to, like, swing back and forth pool noodle covered handles of nunchucks.
It's just do bubble wrap.
I guess, yeah. I feel like they would pop quickly, though. Because imagine, you could, like,
And then it would still be plastic around. I don't know. We'll figure that out later.
I don't know. I've hit myself, many times in my training with the nunchucks, and it hurts, like especially the funny bone or the head.
Ooh.
The amount of times I've hit myself in the head with nunchucks.
Accidentally aiming wrong and then just hitting yourself in the spine.
It's
so bad.
That's why, like, when I train, I aim for my belt, like, because it's so thick, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm very careful, like, when you go over the shoulder, it's supposed to come, like, to the side of your body sort of thing, so that it's not supposed to hurt. Like, if it hurts, then you're not necessarily doing it right.
Yeah, that's valid.
But yeah. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed us talking about weapons.
Yeah.
This was a new one for the Swunger Games.
If you want to
This was
hear
so fun, guys.
if you guys have any other specific random topics that you would like to hear, let us know. But today was weapons, and next week should be the 4th games, and we should have more guests
Hopefully.
joining us. Hopefully. Y'all, pull up, show up. It's fun here. We have a good time normally.
Yeah. Our we were supposed to do the 4th games today, but our Sun Tzu, who was pretty powerful in that games, was not available.
And
so
very excited.
yeah, I'm very excited to be. I cannot wait to hear him explain the 4th games to us from his POV. I come. I bring a gun. I murder people. I lost the games.
I blew up. I didn't know the boundaries.
I am pure the concept of strategy now. In the wind, gone with the wind. Oh, wait.
Alrighty.
Yes. That's enough from us crazy people in the Swunger Games. We will see you next week.
We will see you guys next week, and may the swallows be ever in your favor.
In your favor. Bye-bye.
Oh, God.